Hello, and welcome to House on the Pitch. I'm your host, Tom House. Today we're diving into the global league rankings and what they mean for the MLS, taking a closer look at MLS stadiums, the big, the small, and the shared, and much, much more. Don't forget to send in your questions and comments to houseonthepitch@gmail.com. That's houseonthepitch@gmail.com. Now grab your boots and let's take the field.
That's astonishing. It's absolutely world class.
So recently, some rankings came out. They came out from OptaPower Rankings. And in today's global soccer landscape, league rankings are more than just numbers. They tell a story of growth, investment, and the competitive edge of different leagues around the world. So where does Major League Soccer, or MLS, fit into this picture? Let's dive into the latest OptaPower rankings to explore just that. Now, OptaPower rankings, it's a global metric, and it evaluates thousands of clubs worldwide and helps us understand the relative strength of their leagues. As of the latest data, MLS holds the 9th spot globally, an impressive ranking that showcases how far the league has come in just a few decades. But let's translate what this statistic really means. It's not about prestige, and it doesn't give any league special benefits, but I do think that it can tell us something, and that is what this ranking says about this league's potential. Now, just a few years ago, if you'll remember, MLS was ranked 29th. Now, today, sitting in the top 10 puts it ahead of historic leagues like Mexico's Liga MX, which it surpassed last season thanks to strong performances in tournaments like the League's Cups. So thinking of the MLS potential, this ranking reflects MLS's ability to consolidate its position as the top league in the CONCACAF region. So what are the key factors driving this growth? Well, several elements contribute to the MLS's position. For starters, global star power. You know I'm going to say the name. Yes, the arrival of Lionel Messi at Inter Miami has undeniably brought global attention, elevating the league's visibility and credibility. Now, there's also competitive balance. I think this is something really setting the MLS apart from some of the other leagues around the world. MLS is known for its relatively even playing field compared to leagues dominated by one or two clubs. For example, the difference in rankings between the best and the worst teams here in the US is pretty narrow. Narrower than many of the Euro leagues, who have maybe 3 teams that dominate the country's number 1 league. Take a look at Spain, Portugal, and France's top leagues. The top 3 or 4 clubs are always the top 3 or 4 clubs, and it more or less stays that way year over year. Just another factor that separates the MLS from the rest. Also, there's infrastructure and innovation. From state-of-the-art stadiums to advanced player development programs, MLS continues to invest in the future of soccer. This is something that U.S. soccer fans should be very excited about, and something we will dive into more in our next segment in just a moment. But the last key factor contributing to the MLS rise is international competitions. Success in tournaments like the CONCACAF Cup Championship and strong showings against Liga MX clubs has solidified its standing and have begun to tip the scales. And this next summer, Seattle Sounders and Inter Miami will be the 2 U.S. teams competing in the FIFA Club Cup over the summer. I discussed this in the last episode, but a strong performance in this tournament next summer could further solidify Major League Soccer as one of the strongest leagues in the world. And how does the MLS compare to the other leagues? Well, unfortunately, it goes without saying that globally, MLS ranks below the Big 5 European leagues, with the Premier League unsurprisingly leading the way. It also trails Brazil's Serie A, Portugal's Premier League, Belgium's Pro League, but considering its relative youth compared to these leagues, MLS's placement in the top 10 is a testament to its rapid growth. So some challenges and opportunities. Despite this success, despite the rankings, despite everything that I just said, there is room for improvement. There is the performance gap, and that's probably the most outstanding gap that we have so far. While the league is competitive internally, we talked about that narrow gap, MLS clubs still struggle to rise to the competitiveness of the other European clubs, and will need to continue to promote and send its absolute best when the league competes against other clubs. And there's also the global perception. Some critics argue that MLS needs more high-caliber players in their prime, not just global stars at the tail end of their career. But with expansion plans, increased investment, and the 2026 FIFA World Cup co-hosting role, the league is poised to continue to climb the rankings. In conclusions, what does this all mean for MLS fans? It means your league isn't just a regional powerhouse, not anymore. It's competing on a global stage, and as MLS continues to grow, it's not a matter of if, but when it moves even higher in these rankings. What do you think? Can MLS crack the top 5 in the next decade? Let me know. Email me at houseonthepitch@gmail.com. That's houseonthepitch@gmail.com. Okay, in this next segment, we're going to look into some of the MLS stadium spotlights, the evolution, unique features, and global inspirations of MLS stadiums, and also look into the league's growth in attendance and what it signifies for its future. So, more than 11 million soccer fans, that's 11 million soccer fans, packed MLS stadiums across North America in 2024, setting a new attendance record for the league's 29th season, and we're about to approach the 30th season. This growing attendance is a testament to the league's increasing popularity, fueled by superstar players like Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez, Marco Reus, and Oliver Giroud, who produce and whose presence have really elevated the league's profile globally. This figure surpasses the 2023 record of 10.9 million spectators, signaling an upward trajectory in fan engagement. MLS now ranks among the top 10 leagues worldwide for attendance, outperforming several European leagues, including the Dutch League, the Portuguese, and also the French League, while leagues like the English Premier League and the Bundesliga maintain higher overall attendance figures. MLS's steady climb reflects the growing passion for soccer in the US and in Canada. Comparatively, the Bundesliga, the league over in Germany, leads global attendance charts with an average of 43,000 fans per match. The MLS, however, average attendance is 21,000 per game, but that does put it among the best supported leagues outside of Europe. Atlanta United alone averages over 40,000 fans per game, rivaling some of the biggest clubs in the world. This is good news for the MLS and its fans. Now looking at the stadiums, one of the pillars of MLS's growth has been its commitment to building soccer-specific stadiums. These venues enhance the game day experience, fostering a sense of intimacy and atmosphere that multi-purpose stadiums just don't have. Stadiums like Geodis Park, with a capacity of 30,000, its the largest soccer-specific stadium in the MLS in the US, built at a cost of $275 million, Geodis Park reflects the league's ambition to create a modern venue tailored to soccer fans. Now, this is the park over in Nashville. Another stadium, based in the US, the BMO Stadium for LAFC, located in downtown Los Angeles, this venue stands out for its urban setting and passionate supporters, embodying a vibrant soccer culture in one of the league's most competitive markets. And then there's also Q2 Stadium in Austin. A shining example of sustainability and design, Q2 features green building practices and lively atmosphere that has made Austin a model franchise in the MLS. For clubs sharing stadiums with the NFL, such as New England Revolution at Gillette Stadium, challenges include maintaining an authentic soccer atmosphere in massive arenas. However, the league's growth has spurred more clubs to invest in soccer-specific venues, which have become a hallmark of MLS's maturation. Now, the MLS does have some of the most innovative and fan-focused features in North America. So let's look at Exploria Stadium, Orlando City, home of the iconic Wall, a steep, standing-only supporter section that creates a thunderous environment during matches, and it's amazing to see. Also, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Atlanta. The retractable roof and cutting-edge Halo video board makes this venue a technological marvel. Atlanta United consistently ranks among the top teams worldwide in attendance. Also, TQL Stadium for Cincinnati, known for its LED light displays that illuminate the skyline and enhance the matchday spectacle. And lastly, Providence Park for the Portland Timbers. Renowned for its intimate design and passionate fan base, it's one of the league's most atmospheric venues. So get out there and check out some of these venues. They're amazing to see. Looking just outside of that, there are some global inspirations that the MLS can draw from. One example is Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London. With a microbrewery on site and state-of-the-art facilities, it's a modern benchmark for blending fan culture with high-tech amenities. There's BBVA in Monterrey, Mexico, features stunning views surrounding the mountains, integrating natural beauty into its design. And if you haven't seen pictures of it, go check it out. Allianz Arena in Munich, Germany. The stadium's illuminated facade, which changes colors to reflect the home team, adds an iconic touch that MLS stadiums could replicate for branding. So overall, what does the attendance growth mean for the MLS? Well, the league's rising attendance signifies not just a growing love for soccer in North America, but also the increasing credibility of the MLS on the global stage. Soccer-specific stadiums have played a pivotal role in creating vibrant atmosphere that attract both casual fans and die-hard supporters. With stars like Lionel Messi drawing international attention and stadiums setting new standards, MLS is building the foundation for sustained success. By borrowing ideas from global venues and continuing to innovate, the league is well positioned to remain a key player in world football. So, some closing thoughts on this. Well, from record-breaking attendance to cutting-edge stadium designs, MLS is transforming the soccer landscape in North America. Whether you're cheering from the Wall in Orlando, marveling at Geodis Park in Nashville, or pushing your club for Tottenham's microbrewery experience in an MLS venue, the league is on a trajectory that promises excitement for years to come. Now let's head into our next segment, Across the Pond. As we head into the latter part of the Premier League season, the battle at the bottom intensifies. In this segment, we'll take a closer look at the three teams because we don't really talk about these teams all that much. So these teams currently occupying the relegation zone. That's Ipswich, Wolverhampton Wanderers, and Southampton. Their stories are a mix of challenges, resilience, and history, and they showcase the drama of promotion and relegation, something the MLS lacks for now. So number 1, Ipswich, the top of the bottom. Located in Suffolk, Ipswich Town has a rich history, including the UEFA Cup victory in 1981. However, the return to the Premier League has been a steep learning curve. Ipswich achieved back-to-back promotions, defying expectations in the Championship under manager Kieran McKenna, a former Manchester United assistant coach. Despite their early struggles, they've shown resilience, with 5 draws in their first 10 games, before securing their first win. Adapting to the pace and quality of Premier League has been a challenge, but fans take pride in the club's historic Portman Road and their competitive spirit, even against top-tier opponents. So some of the Premier League history. This season marks Ipswich Town's return to the Premier League after over 2 decades. Their last top-flight stint ended in 2001, the 2001-2002 season, and they spent much of their intervening years in the Championship League. Ipswich was a dominant force in the late 20th century, winning the UEFA Cup in 1981 under legendary manager Bobby Robson. Now, why are they in the relegation zone? Lack of Premier League experience among their squad typically would be the number one reason. Despite a strong promotion campaign, the step-up has exposed weaknesses, particularly in defense, where Ipswich has struggled to adapt to the faster pace and higher technical level. A modest transfer budget compared to the other Premier League teams has also limited their ability to strengthen key areas. Next on the list is the Wolverhampton Wanderers. Known simply as the Wolves, this Midlands club has a storied past and passionate fan base at Molineux Stadium. Despite being a Premier League staple in recent years, this season marks their worst ever start to a top-flight campaign. The managerial instability and lackluster performances have left Wolves struggling to find form. While the team boasts talent like Pedro Neto and Ruben Neves, they've been plagued by inconsistency and defensive lapses. Wolves' historic identity as one of the founding members of the Football League adds a layer of expectation to their survival bid. A little bit of their history. A regular in the top flight since their promotion in 2018, Wolves enjoyed a successful campaign under former managers like Nuno Santo, even reaching European competitions. However, historically, they're also founding members of the Football League in 1888 and have a storied past with 3 English League titles to their name. Now, why are they in the relegation zone? A managerial carousel and inconsistent performances have plagued Wolves. A lack of attacking firepower this season, following departures of key players like Raul Jimenez, has left the team struggling for goals, and defensive lapses and injuries to pivotal players have compounded their woes. And last, but not least, but least on the list and lowest in the Premier League right now, Southampton. Based on the South Coast at St. Mary's Stadium, Southampton, nicknamed the Saints, returned to the Premier League this season after winning the Championship playoffs. Under management of Russell Martin, a newcomer to Premier League coaching, the Saints have found the transition challenging. While they have some Premier League experience in their squad under captain James Ward-Prowse, Southampton has struggled to capitalize on winnable games. The poor Saints start as reminiscent of past seasons where they narrowly avoided relegation, but they'll need a significant improvement to stay afloat. Southampton has been a staple in the Premier League for much of the 21st century, relegated in 2005 but then returned in 2012, and became known for developing talent like Gareth Bale, Theo Walcott, and Virgil van Dijk, the now Liverpool star. In recent seasons, Southampton has flirted with relegation, often relying on late-season surges to survive. Now, the departure of their manager, who had some instability there, and the new leadership is really struggling to inspire some consistent results. A lack of cohesion in the midfield, and over-reliance on young players with potential but little experience has left the Saints very, very vulnerable. So closing thoughts on this segment across the pond. Relegation, it can redefine a club's future. The financial implications are immense, with significant TV loss in revenue and sponsorship deals. It's also a psychological blow, forcing clubs to rebuild while trying to retain key players and maintain fan engagement. Ipswich Town's battle as a newly promoted team embodies the underdog story, kind of like NCAA basketball and March Madness, striving to prove they belong at this level. For Wolves and Southampton, their struggles highlight that even established clubs with history in the Premier League are not immune to relegation's threats. These teams face the harsh reality that survival requires not only performance on the pitch but also careful planning off it. The relegation battle showcases one of the most gripping dynamics in the league, promotion and relegation systems. Every point is crucial, and for Ipswich, Wolves, and Southampton, staying up isn't just about avoiding the drop, it's about preserving their financial stability, team identity, and the opportunity to compete on the world's biggest stage next season. Now, let's head into our next segment, Off the Pitch. Welcome to Off the Pitch, where we take a break from soccer to explore some of life's other fascinating quirks. Today, we're diving into the sizzling world of Wagyu beef. What is it? Is it worth the hype or the price tag? And what's the deal with all the rumors about cow massages and sake baths? Let's dig in. First things first, what exactly is Wagyu beef? The word Wagyu translates from Japanese as Japanese cow, and it refers to 4 specific breeds of cattle. There is the Japanese black, Japanese brown, Japanese polled, and Japanese shorthorn. Wagyu beef is prized for its intense marbling, which results in unparalleled tenderness and a buttery, melt-in-your-mouth flavor. It's basically the luxury sports car of the beef world. But what about all those wild rumors? Do cows really get massages? Do they sip on sake while listening to classical music? Well, kind of. Traditional Wagyu farming methods are steeped in care, but the practices vary widely. Some farmers do brush the cattle. Now they do this to improve blood circulation and prevent muscle stiffness. And yes, beer or sake might be given occasionally to stimulate appetite. But the idea of cows being pampered like spa guests is more myth than reality, albeit a fun one. So, where does Wagyu really come from? Where does it come from originally? Well, originally it hails from Japan, where it's protected by strict regulations, and they have some very strict regulations. Kobe beef, perhaps the most famous type of Wagyu, comes from the Hyogo prefecture and must meet a rigorous set of standards. Outside of Japan, countries like the United States and Australia have started producing Wagyu-inspired beef by crossbreeding Japanese Wagyu cattle with domestic breeds. It's good, but purists will argue, as they always do, that it's not quite the same. Now let's talk the numbers. How much are you going to break the bank on this one? How much does this stuff really cost? Well, at the grocery store, Wagyu can set you back anywhere from $50 to $200 per pound, depending on its grade, whether it's authentic Japanese Wagyu or a domestic version. At a high-end restaurant, a single Wagyu steak can cost upwards of $200 or $300. Kobe beef, being the creme de la creme, might go for even more. For context, that's like buying a playoff ticket for your favorite MLS team. But instead of 90 minutes of soccer, you're getting a few bites of steak. And what's with this grading system? In Japan, Wagyu beef is graded from A1 to A5, A5 being the best, the highest quality. It's like a player rating in FIFA. A5, Lionel Messi, perfectly balanced with insane stats. The marbling, color, texture, and the fat quality all come into play. Basically, A5 Wagyu is the stuff of culinary dreams. Now, bringing it all together, so is Wagyu beef really worth it? That depends. If you're a food lover who wants to experience the pinnacle of beef, then it's absolutely worth trying once. But for your average burger night, you might want to stick to a solid Angus patty and save the Wagyu for a truly special occasion. At the end of the day, Wagyu isn't just about the beef. It's about the story, the tradition, and the care that goes into producing something truly exceptional. So whether you're splurging on fancy steakhouse dinner or just dreaming of buttery beef, Wagyu is one trend that is hard to ignore. And who knows, maybe one day we'll see a Wagyu-inspired burger at an MLS stadium. Wouldn't that be something? Now I'm hungry. Let's get back to soccer. Now, before we close out this episode, let's head over to the mailbag and answer some of the questions that you have all submitted. Again, if you would like to submit a question or have any feedback, go ahead and email us at houseonthepitch@gmail.com. That's houseonthepitch@gmail.com. We would love to hear from all of you. Question number 1 today comes from Jennifer out of Chicago saying, "Hi, I'm new to MLS and want to get into it, but I don't know which team to support. Any advice on how to choose a club that's right for me?" That's a great question. I think you need to take a lot of things into consideration. Number 1 would be geography. I think whichever team you're closest to would kind of be the easiest way to start. So start with proximity. Supporting local team lets you attend games and participate in local events. So if you're in California, LAFC or the San Jose Earthquakes might be a natural choice. One thing I always like to look into is the personality and style. Look into each team's playing style, the roster, the ethos. Some teams are known for flashy attacking play like Atlanta United, while others might be focused on defensive strength or youth development. Also, there's a fan base and atmosphere. You can look at supporter groups and traditions. Teams like Seattle Sounders and Portland Timbers are known for passionate fan base and a vibrant matchday atmosphere. And there's also the stars. So if you want to look at players or clubs who have star players, there's also players and star power. Consider teams with coaches or players that you admire. Something that people don't often look into is the owners of the club. I often like to look at the owners of the club, what they've done in their past, who they are, because sometimes that'll be a reflection of what that club will turn into. We can always look at star players, but honestly, star players come and go. They might last a few seasons. They might even last 10 years, but owners or what the club stands for, the ethos that the club stands for, I think is a much longer and much more concrete view of what a club might actually turn into. So I think looking at the club as a whole, so some people might connect with a team based on colors, logos, or even jerseys. Don't underestimate the power of aesthetics. And then there's also just the history and success. I don't like going after teams who just have the great record, but teams with storied past or recent success might catch your eye. So DC United, LA Galaxy have rich histories, while newer teams like Austin FC are also making waves. So there's a lot of good ways to go out there and look at teams. I think going after geography is a great way to do it. The personality and style, and also the fan base atmosphere. Do a little digging on what that ownership looks like and who's really driving that culture behind it. I think you could find that there's a lot of things that you can connect with and relate with. It doesn't always have to be the one down the street or in your neighborhood or in your state. You can go ahead and branch out and see what else is out there. Next question comes from Marshawn out of Atlanta. He says, "Do you think MLS will ever introduce promotion and relegation like other leagues around the world? If so, when could that happen?" All right, well, let's dive into a little bit of let's understand what promotion and relegation really is. Promotion and relegation involve moving the best teams from a lower league into a higher league and demoting the worst performing teams from the higher league into the lower one. So you get to kind of move the best from the lower league up and then move the worst from the upper league down. And it's really a hallmark of international soccer leagues like the English Premier League. Right now, the MLS operates on a single entity. It's a closed system, single entity league shared by ownership investors. What that basically means is that teams buy into the league with expensive franchise fees, creating a closed structure that doesn't really align with promotion and relegation. So there's a lot that goes into it, but one of the biggest challenges relegation could lead to is massive revenue losses for teams, affecting sponsorships, TV rights, and fan attendance. And there needs to be a backup league. USL and other leagues lack the financial operational readiness to seemingly integrate with the MLS in a promotion relegation system. Now, I love the idea of a promotion relegation system. I think that would be great. And I think it's one of the things that kind of drives a lot of success in the European leagues. Teams near the bottom of the table would fight harder to avoid relegation, increasing late season excitement, which I think is always great. Nobody likes watching the end of the NFL season where teams essentially give up and they just go for the draft spots. With relegation and promotion, you want to fight even to the end of the season to avoid relegation. If you've ever watched a team at the end of a season, if you've seen in the Premier League, if you watch those teams play, the teams that are facing relegation, the team that's top of the relegation, so number 17 on the list, 17, 18, 19, if they're fighting for a chance that they win that match and they can avoid relegation and stay in the Premier League for the next season, those matches are almost as exciting, sometimes often more exciting to watch than the teams that are playing for the number 3, 4 spots that are going to go to the Champions League the following season. So really, is this something feasible for the MLS? I think the idea is good. I do like the idea, and I think it is a long way off. To implement promotion and relegation, MLS would need significant changes to its structure, lower league investments, so USL or whoever that might be, and buy-in from all stakeholders. Some suggest it might happen in the distant future, especially if soccer continues to grow in popularity and investment in lower league improves. The best pathway, in my opinion, to roll this out, and it probably would never happen, would be to move maybe 10 or maybe 5 teams from 10 or 5 of the lower performing teams from the MLS down to the USL and create multiple levels of leagues with 20 or 25 teams, each with their own methods of promotion and relegation. But what would that look like in the MLS? So obviously, similar to Europe, the smaller teams with strong performances could reach the MLS level, shaking up the traditional hierarchy. And I think that's what people really enjoy about European soccer. If your club struggles to get into the Premier League and then one day makes it, it's a historic event. Promotion is such an exciting time for clubs to grow and to move up to the next level. And it is a big blow for established teams to move down to the lower level, but it really makes the experience exciting for fans. Every game would also matter a lot more, from the fight for the championship to the battle to avoid relegation. But there are some risks. Some teams may struggle to survive financially if relegated, potentially undermining the league's stability. Thanks for tuning in to House on the Pitch. Don't forget to email your questions and comments to houseonthepitch@gmail.com. I'm your host, Tom House, reminding you to grab your boots and lace up. There's always another match to play. See you next time.